What's up YouTube? How y'all doing? My name is Beaker and this is my channel. In today's video we're going to be going over my top 10 pick for the best loadouts of season 3. Been wanting to make a video like this for a very long time, but obviously with the DMR meta and the M16 meta, it was really hard to pretty much stray along anything other than those types of guns. Here we go, just going to get straight into it. So number one, by far, my new loadout that I'm going to pick when we're running into TTK nerds and just getting melted and just in super sweaty lobbies and I need something to get the job done, this is what I'm going to take. So just going to breeze through these really fast. So with the AMAX, we're going to run the monolithic suppressor, Zodiac barrel, the VOK optic with the T-pose reticle. It's a really big part of this. The commando foregrip I'm trying out right now. I used to run the Merc, which is really good for getting used to the beginning parts of this recoil pattern. But since I'm using this gun more and more, and I want to counteract the side-to-side horizontal recoil, I am switching over to the commando for now just to see if I can get used to it. But who knows, I could be going back to the Merc. And then the Bullfrog, because as of right now, this is the best TTK SMG that you can get, especially if you start landing headshots. There's nothing that's going to beat this thing up close. So that's why I picked this one. We're going to run the Groove Suppressor, Task Force barrel. I switched out for the bruiser grip just to get me a little bit more movement speed. Hipfire accuracy is just a bonus. I don't really hipfire that much, but you can swap out the bruiser for an optic. This optic, or the iron sight optic, is really good on this gun, but it is kind of chunky. So sometimes, and I'll find myself when the recoil goes up, you kind of lose some of the targets. So I've found, you know, if you want to use an optic, you can, but once you get used to it, it's not too bad. And then, sorry, to round out the bottom of that, so the Spetsnaz 85 rounds, just because having more rounds for me is better, especially running into quads, not having to reload is really nice. And then the skeletal stock just for the ADS increase, ADS speed increase. Movement speed increase, sorry. I'm trying to run all these through here really fast. So number two might be a little bit different than most other people, but I do feel like this loadout, if you can hit your shots, you're gonna down enemies. The only reason why I didn't put it at number one is because this one takes a little bit more skill, and there's just some days where I'm not feeling it. There's just some days where I'm completely missing shots, and you know, that's why, again, when I'm needed to get the job done, I'm going to number one class. If I'm feeling good, I'm going to this one. Plus it is a really fun class to use. So Kar 98, nothing has changed there since my last video. Monolithic suppressor, 27.6 inch barrel. The tack laser, the variable zoom scope, you can obviously switch this out for the sniper scope, and the precision comb stock, because this one's going to be the best. So when you do ADS, the reticle is going to be very close to that little dot that's in the center of your screen, so just making hitting headshots a lot easier. And it has less idle sway too, which is nice. You don't have to hold your breath as much. And then the FARA is going to be the support on this. So I build my sniper support Cold War guns a little bit different than most. So I do the Groove Suppressor. I don't run a barrel. I know there are some barrels out there where you can get increased strafe speed and also bullet velocity. But again, the way that I use this gun, I don't really need it. So I just, you know, you don't need that extra damage range that you get with a lot of the other barrels, because that's why I have the Kar 98. So I just opt not to get it, and instead I throw in an optic. Obviously, if you don't, you know, if you're good with these iron sights, I'm still getting used to them, so maybe I will eventually. But if you want to ditch the optic and go with like an ultralight for the strafe speed, or if you're really good, you can opt for the RBK barrel, which increases bullet velocity, damage range, strafe speed. So you get a lot of pros with no movement speed cons, which is some of these, you get some of the movement speed cons, which you don't really want. For an up-close gun, you want to be able to move as fast as possible. The downside of this barrel is the recoil, the horizontal and vertical recoil. Obviously, you're going to throw the Spetsnaz grip on it to counter it, but again, it could be hard in that mid-range without an optic to really hit your shots. But if you're good, and you can use that stuff. More power to you. And then also to round it out, the 50-round mag. So this is where it got really hard for me to start breaking down some of these what I thought was the best. I kind of had to put my heart to the side because there was some guns I wanted to put higher up, but this is where I feel like we're at right now. The Stoner, I just started using these guns, and this thing actually smacks really good. This 120 round speed mag is like it's a big snail mag, so it reloads pretty quick. Not as fast as your traditional mag, but really fast. I want to say faster than like the PKM with like sleight of hand, so pretty quick. So I started using this, and it kind of changed the way that I play. You know, this is a really fun gun to use. So the build on that is the agency suppressor for obvious reasons. We've been over it many times. The task force barrel, because the recoil really isn't that bad with the vertical and horizontal recoil. But then you get the pros of damage range, bullet velocity, and strafe speed. So you get a lot of pros with this. Just again, once you get used to this recoil pattern, this is actually a really good gun to use. And then I run the 2X option. The reticle that I've been using the most is this little triple blue dot. It's in one of the bundles. I don't remember which one. It's in like the Regal looking AK one, if you can find that. So that one's really good. It's just a nice clean optic. And then the LC10. Now, I think the only thing that's keeping me from putting this with the Bullfrog is that the Bullfrog, like I said, obviously does have better TTK. But this thing, mid to long range for an SMG, completely melts. Because the recoil is really easy to manage. It's way easier to manage than the Bullfrog. The Bullfrog's recoil is actually pretty substantial at some ranges. It's just, and again, with that thick iron sights, it's really, you kind of lose targets a lot. But this is actually a really good gun. It's really fun to use. So that's why I put it at this point. So on this one, we're going to run the agency suppressor. Task force barrel is always. I run the no stock on this because for me, sprint to fire is really important. Especially on this one, I haven't done the research yet, but it feels like this gun has an open bolt delay. So getting out of that faster with the sprint to fire time decreasing was really important for me. But you can always swap it out for the combat stock to get your movement speed back. But this is a pretty fast gun, so I don't really think that you need it. And then just to wrap it up with the 55 round drum mag, or the 55 round mag, and the field agent grip, even though again, this recoil is super manageable. It does have a lot of vertical recoil, but vertical recoil is pretty easy to manage. So you can swap it out for the speed grip once you get more comfortable. But field agent works pretty good. So this one, so the Krig, if you guys didn't know, got a increase buff in the recoil was decreased, and then the damage range, I believe, was increased as well. So those two little changes made this gun very good. I think JGod did the testing on it, and the TTK is actually better than the M4, which is pretty surprising. I didn't think that it was going to be that much better, but it supposedly is, so that's really good. So on this build, we're going to go agency suppressor again. The Ranger, so me, I would rather have the bullet velocity, being able, you know, if someone's moving left to right, it's easier to line up shots because you just put your reticle on them as opposed to trying to figure out how far to lead them. So that was kind of my thinking behind that, and it works really well. I don't have the numbers on the bullet velocity, but it seems really quick. 2x optic again with that little triple blue dot, the 60 round mag, and the field agent grip. And then I feel like you can't not put this gun in at least the top 5. I think a lot of people have forgotten about it. You know, it's kind of like the M4. It's always been good, and people are constantly trying out new guns. So this one just keeps falling down on people's priority list, but it's still really good. It hasn't received a nerf since like season 2 or 3 of the Modern Warfare series. So still really good. Still give it a shot. If people are out there that don't have Cold War and don't want to rank up Cold War SMGs, this is still a really good option. You still compete out there. I know some people would rather do the Cold War MP5, but the TTK on the Cold War MP5 is like this much better than this one. But this recoil is way easier to manage, so that's why I ended up putting this one as opposed to the Cold War MP5. But the build basically goes like this: monolithic integral suppressor because it slightly gives us better damage range. I just recently started using the 5 milliwatt laser for better hip fire accuracy. Merc foregrip, 45 round mag, and then sleight of hand, because now that it's not broken, we can use this again. So that's a good. Number 5, we're going to go with the Grau. So the Grau, again, still a really good gun, still top tier. Again, I think people just end up sleeping on it. I ended up putting this one on this Ghost class. I know all the other ones I was doing like a secondary, but I put this one Ghost just because it is the best gun for basically missing an attachment, because that's what you're doing when you put on fully loaded. You have to drop a class or drop an attachment. So in this case, I would drop the rear grip for fully loaded, and this gun still slaps. It still has really good TTK, has the best iron sights in the game. Again, you know, not having to have a optic on here and having an extra attachment, having this with fully loaded works really well. But when you can fully build it with this rear grip or even a tack laser if you want to, this thing still does really well. And then again, since it's a Ghost class, I threw on the Cycop pistols. These are still pretty good. They're not nearly as broken as day one, but they are still really good for a Ghost class and having confidence to run inside. You can ditch the Kimbo if you want to, and maybe throw on, when I do this single Cycop build, I put on the tack laser and the Alita grip just for better recoil control, and the tack laser just decreases the idle sway. So you can always build it like that if you want, but I feel like if you're going to do this class, the Grau's really good at mid-range, so might as well just do the Akimbo perk. All right, so number 6, we're going to round out here. It was really tough for me to not put this in top 5, but I think the way that the meta is now, 2 through I'd say about 8, you're in really good hands. As far as they're pretty even, so it was really hard to rank these, but these last 5 are kind of just niche for me, and that's why I put them where I did. So for me, if I'm in like farmland or like a close quarters area like boneyard or something like that, I'm usually grabbing the M4 because I don't think it's that great as far as recoil goes for long range, because it's not as consistent as some of the other guns. So I just run a hollow sight on this. So I did the M4. So I did the monolithic suppressor again. I did the Corvus custom marksman barrel again because I'm a little bit more close range stuff. So I didn't put on the grenadier barrel because I wanted a faster ADS time. Again with the hollow sight, 6 round mag, and the Commando 4 grip. Again, so I think this thing had a little bit of traction for a few weeks, and that's the Gallo. Again, this is going to be like my closer range fighting loadout if I feel like we're going to be in those close range areas for most of the match. So gotta go for a shotgun. This shotgun is still really good. I used it for a bit, but this is the build on it. So we're going to do the agency choke, the reinforced heavy barrel, the soft target designator, because apparently it gives us extra damage range and better hipfire spread. The no stock, so you can go between the no stock or the combat stock, depending on how you want to play. Again, as I've said throughout this whole video, sprint to fire time is really important to me. So that's why I opted for the no stock. You do get a lot of pros with the combat stock. You get both cons of hipfire accuracy, so it's not like you're really weighing that. But this one gets you that classic Cold War movement speed. When you start ADS firing, you just for some reason just pick up a whole bunch of speed and you start shooting. And for a single action gun, again, for me, from my style of playing, it was just too much. I'm sure eventually I would get used to it, but again, having faster sprint to fire time was just more important to me. That's why I ran this gun like this. Number 7. I even labeled this class UG because I hate the fact that I have to put this in here, but again, putting my heart to the side, this is still a very viable class. I know that this thing, the M16, got a lot of nerfs. Multiple nerfs, even barrel nerfs. This thing got hammered, but it's still really good, guys. So the build is still the same: agency suppressor, strike team barrel for the increased fire rate, 3x optic, 44 round mag, and this field agent 4 grip. I put this gun in the UG class as well, again because it has still been a very big contender, and it still has, you know, a sour spot for some people because this thing did dominate for a very long time. I know it did receive a very small nerf in the last update, but it's still a very viable gun. It only received 1 less damage point per shot. So build is still the same: agency suppressor, task force barrel, again for extra range, bullet velocity, and no cons to movement speed, if I didn't say that before. And on this one, I ended up going to the Raider stock. Again, you can go no stock too, but this one, with movement being more in the key because, you know, back then when I was using this gun with M16, it was still with FFAR. I wanted to be able to move really fast, so that's why I did the Raider stock. That's why I still keep it on here because I'm so used to it. You can definitely still swap the FFAR for the MAC-10 if you really wanted to. It still is a top tier gun. I just kind of ran out of spaces. I feel like there's more of them out there, and I'm just tired of using that thing. So that is the one that kind of got my heart, and I just threw it away because I was tired of using it, and I really don't like running double AR. So that's kind of my thoughts behind that. Number 8, the Kilo and the PPSH. Now Kilo, again, I know it got a really hard nerf way back when. It got that second damage drop off, which made this thing not so great. Once you hit that certain damage threshold, again, I'm sorry I don't have my numbers, but when I want to say it's like 40 to 45 meters. Once you get past that, it's like shooting marshmallows, and it's not that great. But when you're in that range, which is pretty far, I mean, it's not like a close distance by any means. This thing still shreds. It's still the old Kilo that it ever was. There was no recoil buff or recoil nerf. There's no damage nerf, nothing like that. So it still feels the same in that range. You just can't beam people from all the way across like airfield or something. So this build is going to stay the same. Monolithic suppressor, 19.8 barrel, which is just the longest barrel. VLK optic, 60 round mag, and the commando foregrip. Now this one, I'm pretty sour about this one, I'm not gonna lie. So I put this one in here, one, because I was running out of SMG slots to put in here, and two, it's just not, it's not that great. It's kind of a bummer that this gun was, you know, it's the battle pass gun for this season, and it's not great. It's not terrible by any means. You pick this thing up as ground loot, you're gonna do fine, but this thing feels just kind of like the MP5, with a little bit more recoil, if that makes sense. So it still hits as long as you're hitting your shots. It does really well, and having this 55 round drum mag really just kind of makes it, I guess, a little bit better than the MP5 in that sense. But sorry, it's not going to overtake the MP5 for me. If I'm going to pick two like I did here, I'm putting this one down at the bottom. It is what it is. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, but that's how I'm feeling. But I did still have to put it up here because I do still feel like it has a place. So this build goes the GRU suppressor, task force barrel, as again for many reasons of what we talked about. The PKM stock, I still don't have this one unlocked because as soon as I made a video for it, I stopped using it. But basically still for the movement speed increases, 55 round drum mag, and the Spetsnaz script, again for the same thing, vertical and horizontal recoil control. So this one, if you see on number 9 here, I named it No Russian. I tried to put in here M13 and Bruin, and it kept popping up text receives profanity. For some reason, I can't put number 9 or M13 or Bruin, even though I've had all those names in a class before. It wouldn't let me do it. I don't know why. So I figured what dumb censorship rules that Infinity Ward's going to have. But way back in Modern Warfare 2 days, there was as you guys know, there was a level called No Russian. That was the most controversial level ever. So if you're going to have a level like that and I can't put M13 and Bruin in here, something going on. So that's a little bit why this says No Russian. Just a little throwback for you guys. So M13 still completely smacks. This is like I tried to call this like my fun class, but No Russian just sounded cooler because these are two guns that just will always have my heart. Again, monolithic suppressor, Tempest marksman, just the longest barrel. This one I run the hollow sight. You can swap it for the VLK and like a Merc grip because I think that one works the best for the VLK. But if I'm gonna have fun and use this gun, this is how I'm gonna have it built. 60 round mag and then commando foregrip. And then the Bruin. So that one says monolithic suppressor, summit longest barrel, VLK optic, commando foregrip, and then the 60 round mag. So I need to start using this gun more and more because once you do get used to that recoil that they did add for the 60 round mag, it's a really easy gun to use. But when you drop it for a while and then come back to it, it's hard to get used to. So I need to start using this thing again. Maybe I'll make a video on it sooner when I come back to this. And then number 10, these aren't bad guns by any means. For my style of playing, these are very niche weapons to use. But I don't think that they should have been put to the side or not included in this, because I do still see them a lot when people are killed or whatever and you see their loot. I still find these guns a lot. So the HDR is obviously that sniper that I'll grab now with Summit. When you're in like the Summit area and you get that last drop, this would be like a ghost class for me. So if I have whatever AR, I can grab this, still have ghost, and it's a long range sniper as opposed to the car. It's, I guess, a short range sniper, where basically this thing you just point and shoot, has really good damage, even chest damage. It does really, really well. Obviously it has the one-shot headshot potential, but that's where this gun falls in, kind of like that northeastern part of the map, I guess, if you want to call it that, is where this gun shines. If I'm in that area, I'm picking this thing up, just depending on how the game is playing and how the circle's closing. Usually I end up picking up this gun and doing very, very well. So this build, again, monolithic suppressor, 26.9 HDR Pro barrel, the tac laser just for better ADS time, because this thing has atrocious ADS. It's one of the worst sniper ADSs in the whole category. The variable zoom scope, because that's what gives you that super zoom. So you can hit like those 400, 500, 600 meter shots if you really wanted to. You want to be that guy that everyone dislikes very much on top of ATC, or now maybe even Duga Tower. Excited to see some of the videos some people might start hitting from Duga Tower to like prison or something like that, because you can see up really high. But this is the gun that they're going to be using because of those two reasons. And then the Stalker Scout stock, again, just to get the ADS speed a little bit better. All right, guys, sorry for the little class mix up here. I realized I ended that video and I didn't even talk about the RAM, and that was the very last one. So the RAM, I think I can't not have this gun in here. It is one of the best Modern Warfare TTK ARs out there, other than obviously the AMAX. This one just shoots really, really fast, so it's more forgiving. But it shreds. It's right there with the AMAX as far as TTK. But again, having super fast rate of fire, 50 round mag, you're gonna run out kind of fast. Plus, for me, this is the only AR that I at least know of that's viable, that goes up and to the left, as opposed to other ones go up and to the right. So, you know, we're all getting used to pulling down and pulling left to counter. Now I have to pull right. So for me, that's just why I don't really use this gun all too much at range, even though it's very, very viable at range. So basically this is a sniper support. Before the Cold War integration, this was my support gun. So this is why I wanted to add it. So monolithic suppressor, I was running the Tac Eclipse barrel as opposed to the Ranger, because again, we're not really needing it for that range, because that's what we have, either the HDR or the car. The tac laser for the faster ADS and the better better aiming stability. You can throw an optic on here if you want, but now I feel, now in the meta we're in now, I think you need a faster mobility, because the Cold War guns have the insane mobility. So instead of ruining that with an optic, I would just suggest a tac laser, 50 round max, it's the biggest one we can have, and the commando. So that's it. That's my top 10 tier list, if you want to call it that, for the Warzone class as of right now. Again, you guys are going to see a lot of videos of me putting out. I'm putting out a lot of them this week because I'm just having so much fun. The meta's in such a good spot. I'm really, really happy with all the nerfs and the buffs that they've done with a lot of these guns. So I feel like any gun you pick up is going to be very, very good. So hope you guys liked the video. This is kind of last minute for me. It's almost midnight on a Sunday, which none of the boys are on. So I decided to make this video. So let me know what you guys think. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel. If you guys want to watch me live on Twitch, stream Monday through Friday from 7 to 11. Jump in chat, drop a follow, come say what's up. I greatly appreciate it. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.